Hello, and welcome to another episode of Manifest Actual Play. We're back! We did it! And we remembered how to go live, and everything's fine.
Yeah, nobody forgot how to go live, especially not Tommy.
I had to re-authenticate the Twitch.
Nobody forgot. That's what I said.
Twitch forgot.
Hello, everybody. How are you doing? We are so happy to be back after many weeks taken off. We ended with a really exciting episode a couple weeks ago. I'm going to start off with one quick announcement that the YouTube is totally caught up. So anyone who may have missed episodes of this campaign in specific, you can catch them all on YouTube, and we're gonna maintain that. So this episode will be dropping on YouTube in a much quicker fashion than previous episodes have. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm Tommy Cotton. With me, as always, Dan Barron, Addie Gia, Seth Lilly, Roman Mylan, and we are here to play some Manifest. But before we jump into any of the actual play and the recap that we definitely all remember everything that happened, before we jump into any of that, these lovely people have important things to talk to you about. So you people, talk about things.
Okay, Tommy. All right, fine. I'll play your game. I'll tell the people about our charity, if that's what you want.
It is.
So our charity this month is Fight for Right Ukraine. There are 2.7 million people in Ukraine who are disabled. 70,000 of those are children with physical and mental disabilities that have been institutionalized, and 95% of those children don't have contact with their families. Right now, a lot of the shelters where Ukrainians can go for safety are not accessible to the disabled. Which means right now there are thousands of disabled Ukrainians sitting at home with nowhere safe to go. For the disabled living in institutions, they have no other facility or home to go to. So Fight for Right Ukraine is currently staffing a hotline for Ukrainians needing medication and services, including accessible resources to help them flee, as well as providing help and protective aid and services on the ground to those who need it most. They currently have an active GoFundMe that Tommy is going to drop a link to in the chat, and anything you can offer help. We ask that if you're considering donating to those aiding the people under attack in Ukraine, consider donating to Fight for Right Ukraine and help those who have no other way to help themselves. It's a really great organization. They're doing incredibly important and timely work right now. Anything you can offer by way of money, platform, signal boost helps. That's it for me. Someone else now.
I guess that'll be me. I'll play your game, Dan.
You're goddamn right.
Hi everybody. Hello. Welcome back to the stream. It is Tuesday. It's around about 8 o'clock Central. That means we are here on twitch.tv/Waypoint Live. Maybe you're on the YouTube in the future. Oh, what's the future like? Invest in that. Wait, that's not how that works. Hello, welcome. Welcome. We're so glad to have you back. If you, like me, can't remember how time works, there are some buttons on this page that will help you out with that. They are right conveniently under me. There is a heart and there is a bell where you can follow the channel. You can get notifications when we're live. Get Twitch to tell you when we're live. They know when we press the button. They know when we've authenticated. They know when we're coming on. Because it's up to them, and sometimes they don't want to let us on, but we make them let us on. We are undeniable. We will not be denied. There's another button that Argot Llama just pressed. Oh my god! Where you can subscribe and you can give subscriptions so that other people can know when we're live. Thank you so much, Argot Llama. You're the best. I did say to invest, and you have invested it absolutely wisely. In the stream, because a lot that money goes back into making the stream better, into upping our equipment, getting on guest stars, getting to do cool stuff, upgrading our overlays and everything, our music. All of that money goes back into the stream. We really appreciate y'all's support. Thank you so much, Argot Lam, and viewers like you. Also, since this is my only time to talk undeterred, I will point out that I'm wearing my most Gus shirt tonight. My most Gus for this situation shirt, because I imagine Gus is ready for a vacation, and I'm wearing a Hawaiian shirt with Santas all over it, because Gus likes to kick back and relax, but he likes to remember the reason for the season. So, thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Santa is the
Santa
reason
Claus.
for the season.
Yeah. Who else would it? Coca-Cola wouldn't put in someone in the commercial who's not the reason for the season. It's Santa Claus and polar bears, obviously. Follow us. Follow us on our socials. I go ahead. And I am gussing up. Oh my god, that's wonderful. Follow us on our socials. If you've got an Amazon Prime subscription, you get a free Twitch sub. If you could send that our way, we really, really appreciate it. If not, Jeff Bezos wins, and we cannot let him win. Not anymore. We're undeniable. And that is about all I've got, I think, for y'all. I'm gonna send it over to the lovely Addie Gia.
All right, Roman, I'll play your game.
Yes, finally.
Yeah, so if you love the content that you see here on the stream and you want to play it at home for yourself, one of the best ways to do that is to become a patron of ours on Patreon, because yes, Waypoint Game Designs has a Patreon, and it's patreon.com/Waypoint Game Designs. I know, it's a whole circle. But anyway, there you can get our monthly Drifters Roundup, which is kind of like a behind the scenes look, and sort of like an editorial kind of piece, talking about some of the stuff that we love about the game. In addition, you've got an adventure every month. This coming month is what, part 3?
It's part 2, and to give the people a taste, I did have a conversation in the kitchen with Tommy where I said the sentence, "How many Latish is too many Latish?"
Well, there you have it. And so, and also you get access to our patrons' exclusive Discord channel, on our backers and patrons exclusive Discord, and it's one of the best ways to keep in touch with us. We are there all the time. So if you have the bandwidth, time, money, and love for what we do here, and you want to get your hands on more Manifest stuff, that's the best way to do it. Go to patreon.com/Waypoint Game Designs. And now Tommy's going to lie to you.
All right, Addie, you'll all play my game.
That's strong. That's strong.
All right. So just a refresher for anyone in chat who may have forgotten, and also for anyone new in chat. We have these little numbers up in our little window. This is how much grit each of us have. I'm pretty sure the numbers are accurate, but we've been off line for a couple weeks, so I think it's right. Grit is an expendable resource in Manifest that you can use to manipulate your rolls to make the things that are important to you happen the way you want them to, or to make bad rolls that some people might be more inclined to roll less bad. As a viewer, you actually have a way to interact. Perfect timing, Fiddler Undone. There's a way for you to interact with the grit economy of the game. You can spend your viewer, your channel points, your viewer grit to give grit to either myself or one of the individual players. We see this being done right now by Fiddler Undone, +1 grit to Porter. So
you,
Porter, according to my count, that puts you up to 9.
I know, big money, right?
Woo! So
That's 3 misfires you can downgrade.
That's at least 2 legs you could save.
Oh.
Wow.
Snap.
Dang, Porter doesn't have a leg to stand on in this one.
Also, Chris, thank you for the 1,000 bits. That I guess I'll just take a grit because he gave 1,000 bits. I think that's what he meant to do.
That's not what that means. That's not what that means.
No.
He gave me 1,000 grits.
Hold on. Now, the player grid is more expensive, right? And so
It's true.
Chris
It
has
should be-
bought the premium option, which I believe is 1 grit for all of us. And not you.
That is how it works. Can confirm.
Fills us all on grit.
So you guys can hit your channel point thing. You'll see how it works. Just a quick note to everyone. The players can only have 12 grit. So if they're at 12 grit, you can't give them any more grit. And then I have no such limitations, though there is a reasonable limitation to the amount of grit I'm able to spend against them to make things difficult, because sometimes there are sessions where they're just role playing, and I don't need to impose a lot of roles, and therefore I don't need to spend grit at them. Now, with all that out of the way, we are going to jump into the actual play, but before we do, we are going to take a look at all the cool character art we have for this season. Now, I will point out the art for Eloise might be a little might be a little dated at this point, because we are starting this session and Eloise distinctly only has one leg at the moment. So let's look back and remember what Eloise looked like with two legs, because she's starting the session with one.
Let's start our in memoriam for limbs this year.
All right, transport your mind. Hello. Hi. We're all here and fine, I think. We noticed at the end of the character art there, everything on our end looked very choppy. So, but also Twitch is telling me that we have 0 drop frames, so I don't know who to believe, my own eyes or what Twitch is telling me.
Where did the frames go, Jeff?
Where did the frames go, Jeff?
He's eating them.
It was choppy. It was choppy. Interesting. So it had something to do with the media source.
Like my leg got chopped off.
It had something to do with the media source. Okay, so that's something with my computer then. Let's just hope that doesn't come up again. Okay, so previously on Manifest Actual Play, a lot of stuff happened. So our drifters were in the guild hall of the Legionnaires of Astoria, one of the reclusive gunslinger guilds, the largest gunslinger guild, I believe, on Manifest. It's their reclusive headquarters in the Heartwood Forest. They had gone through a harrowing experience to get there, went through horrible storm, flood weather, monsters, and they got there, and all the power was knocked out. And it was a very, very dark castle in the heart of the Heartwood Forest. And our drifters quickly realized that this would be the perfect environment for Leo Riggs to move about the castle unseen, as Leo Riggs has previously shown the ability to meld into the shadows. Using this supposition, they put the castle on high alert and forced Leo Riggs' hand as he was lurking about the castle. he killed one of the cadre of the Legionnaires, one of their leaders, to steal her key to the archives so that he could go and research what lore the Legionnaires had stowed away on Owen Lemarre, someone who he thought was the next great threat of Manifest. Our drifters followed him down into the archives and encountered him where he attempted to convince them to join him in his fight against Owen and overlook his very, very overt supremacist ideals when it comes to the power structure between illuminated and non-illuminated people. This led to a confrontation between Dex and Leo, a showdown, a quick draw showdown, which Dex won handily, which broke Leo's physical form and unleashed the true potential of the serum that he had injected that was crafted by Owen Lemarre, aka Ulysses Pruitt, aka Rufus Nash. I almost forgot his last name. And Leo Riggs's corpse basically transformed into this kind of feral raven-like entity that attempted to kill our four drifters, but they prevailed at great cost. Eloise ended that fight with her leg fully disintegrated. Porter in dire straits. Gus at the end of his rope, covered in blood and sweat and maybe some tears as he full on went into an absolute brawl with this thing at the end and barely managed to get that last punch in for the kill. With them in this hall, in the basically the basement levels of the guild hall, is currently the most senior member of the Legionnaires in the guild hall, Vance Branya. Brother to Morgan Branya, who is one of the cadre of the Legionnaires. However, she was murdered. Vance is the head scribe, and he spent most of the combat trying to keep himself alive and also put out the fires that Leo Riggs had started in the Legionnaires' archive. We ended the session with Eloise's leg disintegrating. Gus, who was bleeding out, was rescued by Porter. And the smoke has kind of... there's a lot of smoke still lingering in the area because the ventilation down here isn't super great, but it's not so bad that it's completely attacking your senses. The giant doors leading into the archives shattered by Leo Riggs at the beginning of the fight. What was left of Leo Riggs, very few items. Dex was quick to destroy in case Leo Riggs was able to transport his consciousness into any of them as an Everlight can. We end with Eloise stabilized, though her leg basically ending at her right leg basically ending at the hip. Gus stabilized, though still pretty beat up. Porter and Dex, I know Porter took some injuries. I don't remember if Dex actually took any injuries. I think he did. Everyone's a little bit banged about, but the fight is over and the smoke has is kind of lingering around the embers of the bookshelves that were launched at you. And Vance, with sweat pouring down his face, is cleaning off his glasses. He has kind of prepped your wound, Eloise, injecting the last necessary substances to kind of stop the decay and stay and kind of fast heal that leg and prep it for prosthetic extension. And he stands up kind of panting, a man who has clearly been through a lot, and while he is part of the Legionnaires, is definitely not a frontline fighter, definitely not a trained gunslinger. He looks a little shaken by the experience. What do you guys do?
Sorry.
It is dusty down here.
It's a lot of smoke and ash. Makes sense.
Sorry. I'm all right. I think Porter definitely goes back after he kind of finishes up with Gus. He goes back to Al, and just tries to be as comforting as possible and check on the work that that was done on her leg.
As you do that, Vance is seeing you, like, obviously the physician of the group, moving to check on Eloise. Vance kind of starts to soak in the scene, and he kind of almost like in a daze wanders into the smoke-filled room that is the archives of the Legionnaire's Hall. But Eloise, Porter kneels down by your side.
Are you feeling okay? Do you need any painkillers or anything?
No, I mean, I'm not fine, but
No.
no, it just sort of, it didn't really do things. I didn't have I wish I had a recording device so I could have seen. I don't I just, it's gone. It like.
Do you want to write
It's
some
gone.
stuff down? I can
No, I don't forget things, but I just wish I had, like, I didn't see it from all the angles or something. I feel like I could. It would have been, because there's there's nothing now. Huh?
I know.
Are you okay?
I'm fine. I'm just worried about you. I'm here for you, and I know this is gonna take a while to process. Just let me help any way I can. Okay, I'm here.
Okay. I don't know what to do next. I mean, obviously, I do know what to do next because I don't have a leg, so I would need help standing up probably. But I don't know what to do next, metaphorically.
I'm here while you figure it out. I'm here.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I didn't save it.
I told you not to.
I know, and
I told you it was
I
okay.
know that you don't want me to feel bad about it, and I won't. But I feel like I have to say it at least once.
Why?
I guess it's more for me than it is for you.
Okay.
Meanwhile,
Do
Dex
you-
and Gus nearby, where the Raven was and has fully dissipated.
Hey, well, why'd you beat up all his stuff?
Owen is a thing that transcends death, right? He put himself into something.
Oh yeah, because he turned into a ghost. Got it.
I
You're
didn't
trying
want to take any chances.
Gotcha. No, that's smart. I think. Do you think he was in any of that stuff?
I don't know.
All right. Well, he ain't anymore.
Can you stand? Are you good?
Uh, yeah, no, yeah, just and Gus makes like a joking attempt at doing like a kip up to his feet and then goes, yeah, no,
Your back like fully pops when you do.
Okay, all right, I didn't expect that much. That was supposed to be a joke, but it really actually it did hurt a lot. Do you mind if
I helped Gus up.
Oh, and like his hip pops. It's like, dang, I joke about it all the time. I didn't think I was actually getting old. Dang. Oh, dang.
I don't. Hey, we should check on Vance. Come with me, but I don't think this I don't think this is an accurate check of whether or not you're too old.
I mean, last time I beat up like a big sort of ghost spectral bird mutant, I didn't pop nothing. I was totally fine.
Oh, all right then, maybe you're old.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and the two of you walk past Eloise and Porter into like the wider archives. A very, very large, not like oppressively large room, but quite large, with several bookshelves with scrolls, tomes, papers, and journals that are many of which are heavily damaged by the fires that were set. Porter and Eloise, you see Dex and Gus heading that way.
Should you go with them?
If you're okay, I mean,
Yeah. I'm fine.
do you want to try and get up?
Well, I don't think we can move fast enough if
No,
it's
no,
us.
That's fair. I'll check it out. I'll come back soon. Okay.
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 Oh shoot! It doesn't really work with my mic. Hey, El, you need a ride?
Oh, I would, yeah, yes, I cannot ambulate.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
Gus just comes and like puts you on his back.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, he's got room for me up there practically.
Yeah, you want in?
No, it was a joke. Sorry.
Good. Yeah, no, I was just in a pretty bad fight. I'm sore.
I think it's probably more comfortable for Eloise if you carry her in front of you, since it's actually her hip pretty aches pretty bad. So when you try to like put her on her back, it's like hard for her to hold on and like stabilize herself. So you guys kind of like quickly find your way into like into the like, oh, is this like
position, yeah.
And then you kind of are able to like carry her through into the archives with Porter and Dex. Vance is standing there. He's looking at some like rubble that was one of the bookshelves that shattered against the door. And he goes, centuries of knowledge, I mean, just lost due to the whims of one man. I just never in my time has the Legionnaire's Hall been so thoroughly defeated. And he like kind of like reaches down and grabs like one of the tomes that's like half scorched, and he like looks at it and then like just like sets it on a shelf, like as if that's like the first step to starting to rebuild these archives.
What was he talking about when he said you were hiding things about the Lemarres?
I suppose, I mean, y'all have earned the right to an answer. We should get some people down here working on this. We should get you fed if you need more medical attention. We have supplies. I can either tell you on the way, or we can sit down and have a conversation once we've had a moment to recover. But you deserve an answer, and I'm willing to tell you what I know, which, I mean, he wasn't wrong. It ain't much.
But we can have a sit down as long as you promise it happens.
Absolutely.
We've paid too high a price not to get at least some answers.
I understand. He says, like glancing at like Eloise and Gus, who have like the brunt of like the heavy damage. And then he goes, well, let's head back up then. Tell them that it's taken care of. And on the way up, he's like, did that man come here alone, or does he have compatriots we should be concerned about?
He He had allies, but none as powerful as him. It's possible they could have used illuminated powers to infiltrate the castle, but it would be smart to check and not assume that everything is safe. But certainly none of them are as dangerous as him. That doesn't mean they're not dangerous.
I'll have Mr. Yamain do a patrol, see if he can see any signs of any camps or anything. But let's get you patched up. And he takes you guys basically through the castle to an infirmary where effectively you have all the supplies you would need to treat injuries and heal hit points, Porter. It's not like an extremely well-stocked infirmary, but like it is an infirmary that betrays the fact that like they only get supplies every few months. So like they have like a pretty decent stock in here. And I don't think you guys have enough injury slots for Porter to have to use up all of their supplies.
I healed one of my injuries on the fly so that I could try and get to Eloise quicker. But so I only have one injury I need to heal, and it's one away from being healed.
Yeah, and as he kind of deposits you guys in the infirmary, he leaves you there with Hunter O'Connor, who's just there to like help you with anything you need. He goes and like heads towards the Great Hall, and you hear like movement around the castle again as like the defenses start to go down, and you assume like they start like kind of fanning out to make sure like the danger is well and truly past. And anyone who's like kind of paying attention to like the movements around the castle do see that like several stewards and scribes are sent down to the lower levels to deal with the damage there. But yeah, Porter, I guess like for the ease, because we know like Seth, you can roll all these dice. What injuries do we have to treat here?
Let's start, I assume, with Gus, right?
Gus only had the one. It was a big one, but now it's good.
Yeah, taken care of. And then Eloise, do you still have any injuries?
Oh, yeah, I have overwhelmed and shaken.
But those are class 1?
No, it's a 1 and a 2.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll start with the 2 class.
I'm also down some hit points, but I don't know if that's necessarily present.
I mean, I've got a healing tonic if you want it.
Does this count as a breather?
This is a breather. You all get you get 4 hit points because Porter is there. And then those of you who have shine, you get 2 shine.
Excellent. All right, well then I'm doing more or less fine.
Porter, you are given a +4 from Hunter O'Connor, who just exploded twice on his dice.
Good on ya.
Nice.
Appreciate that, O'Connor.
Just kind of serving as like your nurse in this situation. Eloise, you also see the supplies you would need to put together at the very least a simple prosthetic for your leg, if you didn't want to like, I mean, you wouldn't in this window of time, you wouldn't be able to necessarily craft an advanced prosthetic, but you can at least get yourself kitted out with a leg with relative ease. The supplies are here.
Okay, that's good because I don't have any.
I think it makes more sense for me to make my own luck. So I'm gonna do that once.
Okay.
And twice. And that's 4 there. Which I need to get 1 more for you, right?
No,
you
you
needed
two.
You needed to get 2 hits.
Oh, sorry. That's right. I was only treating 1 injury. Sorry, I thought I thought I was going for both at the same time.
Yeah. So the two does it. You can keep
I didn't spend grit then.
Okay, yeah.
I also don't think you can make your own luck twice on this roll.
Depends on how many dice you roll initially.
4. Yeah, you're right.
You'd only be able to make it once.
I missed the parentheses there. Classic. All right. And then can I heal her class 1 as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
That one I only need 1, right?
Yep.
That's it.
Cool.
Did it.
So that's Eloise's injuries fully treated. Dex, do you have any injuries?
Yeah, I have a class 1 and a class 2 injury. Overwhelmed and compromised.
Let's go.
Yeah. While this is going on, Gus, between Porter and O'Connor and the supplies, you're like anyone who has hit point loss will be able to get their hit points back during this time because there's enough supplies, there's enough like excellent quality like tier 1 healing tonics, and there's 2 med kits in the mix right now, so like hit points are coming back.
I don't love this like Tommy like, oh yeah, heal all your hit points, get your injury slots back. Totally fine. Nobody else here, definitely.
It's Kenya Main's on the patrol.
Mm-hmm. So
honestly,
yeah, that's
there would have to be so many of those FPC goons.
that's both of yours, Dex, the class
Great,
2 and the
thank you.
class 1, and I healed my class 1 as well.
Cool. All right. Everyone's injury is fully healed. You don't need any rests for that. Your hit points are restored, and that takes like a pretty decent amount of time. It's a decent amount of time for Porter to just like Porter and Hunter to get things together.
Is there a machinery cube here I could use to patch up my armor?
Yeah, absolutely.
It does not have enough damage to necessitate a roll.
And
how many do you get if you have 1?
3.
That's 3. Oh, I'd love to spend
3
one on it.
plus hits on a machinery test.
I'm just gonna spend the machinery cube.
and Eloise, I don't suppose you want to start working on an advanced prosthetic. Any of for a full leg, you don't have necessarily the supplies just on hand here in the infirmary to start on an advanced prosthetic.
Right.
But you do
We
have the
10
supplies.
tech cubes, if that helps.
I mean, yeah, I guess between you guys you might have it, but as far as the
I
infirmary
don't
supply goes,
have any.
you need ignoring your master crafter thing, being able to augment this a little bit, you need 4 first aid cubes, 5 tech cubes, and 5 machinery cubes.
Okay.
Because
I don't have that.
your entire leg is missing, and it's a class 3 item.
But I did want to make a prosthetic, and then I think maybe some like forearm stabilizing crutches, just so I can get used to walking with them.
Absolutely, you have the supplies to do that. The crutches are easy; they just have them here. And then yeah, you already have supplies for like basic prosthetics, so like you're able to create a fully like automated thing. It's kind of painful, but Hunter, like basically like they in the infirmary here, the tech isn't like super advanced, but it is pretty nice. It's better than you would find in any like clinic like in the Badlands. So you're able to like get on a table that's like has the extra attachments to like be able to help with the process of attaching a prosthetic limb. And with Porter and Hunter helping, it's a little bit of a painful process because it does like attaches and doesn't like fully wire into your nervous system the way an advanced prosthetic does, but like it does have enough like of the sensors and everything that like you're able to fully like kind of control this leg as you would a normal leg. But it's still wobbly and weird. It is a little bit, it's going to be a little bit of a learning curve to be able to like, cause like this, like the sensory input, it really isn't there. So
yeah, I'll get there eventually, but it's going to take some practice.
But like it has like full range of movement of like basically a regular leg would, and like very, very minor sensory input that isn't really like the same as having a normal leg, more like you are given indication that the leg is feeling something. Right. But yeah, between Porter and Hunter and you're able to both craft a leg and attach it with relative ease as far as things go. And then around this time, it's been a couple hours, like a handful of hours, of like you guys kind of resting, treating your injuries, healing up. Some food is brought by, some food and water is brought by, and then Vance does enter the infirmary, nods to Hunter, who takes his leave. And it's just the four of you and Vance sitting in the infirmary. Eloise kind of like sitting there on the chair with like the med kit kind of like automating the last little touches on her leg. Everyone else kind of like Dex putting the final touches on his armor. And everyone just kind of like looking much better than they did a moment ago. And Vance like sits down with like an extra bit of weight as he like lands in like one of the chairs here. And he goes, right. So I'm willing to tell you what I know. You're wondering specifically about the legend of the Lemaires, right?
That's right. I appreciate you sitting down with us. I know that you're going through a lot right now as well.
I mean, if that madman believed Owen Lemaire was back enough to do what he did, it gives some credence to it. He said that you lot also had reason to believe, and you mentioned before.
Yeah.
We told you he was back.
Yeah, but we didn't have a chance for you to tell me exactly what happened. Well, I guess we'll get to that. I'll answer your questions first. You keep working. I only know what I mean. Looking in the archives, that man, that thing started the fire at the place where the knowledge was kept about Owen Lemaire. But I've at least looked at it myself, and it's my job to remember these things. So, I mean, he wasn't wrong. The information we have on Owen Lemaire, the hard information we have on Owen Lemaire is lacking. I know he was born in 181. He came to the guild hall after his mother died. He was young. His father brought him to the guild hall. And that's where his journey began. He never really was able to pass beyond being a squint. A gunslinger initiate, as it were. There's an old test Legionnaires do for their squints. They're put into a position to make a shot that they can't. That's physically impossible. The deck is stacked against you. And the purpose of that test is to teach them how to fail. And well, apparently that was the breaking point for Owen Lemaire. What records show was that he never made it past that point. At that point, he after failing at that juncture of training for years, he was effectively ejected from the Legionnaires, deemed unfit. Reasons being
Why Quentin Lemaire?
Anger, pride, greed. I mean, it was Quentin was his primary, master, but I mean, the cadre got the final say.
Mm-hmm.
But reasons that were cited were anger, pride, and greed, a duality and deception to him, a lack of moral fortitude and willpower necessary to be a Legionnaire. At that point, he disappeared for a number of years, and that's where everything becomes a little more vague. Those are the early records. Those records remained. But after his death in the year 224, I know that the records indicate that information about him was actively removed from the archives. That history was intentionally left to time, I guess.
Why?
When Owen resurfaced, whenever he did before his death, he was tied to an organization, I guess you could call them, a group of people that called themselves the Cut. And they are responsible, as perhaps you know, Mr. Bailey, for orchestrating the events that led to the Gunslinger Schism. Which is something you were taught about, Dex. You know that the Gunslinger Schism was a 2 or 3 year long conflict, all the way back in like 222. The schism was basically a civil war amongst the guilds. Basically, your knowledge of the history of the Gunslinger guilds as like a whole planet-wide is that they kind of rose to prominence long after the Factory Wars, generations after the Factory Wars. These different people who followed the way of the gun in different ways started to form these guilds to pass on their training in a more formal capacity. And they more or less just kind of existed on the planet without much like connection between any of them. And that led to a thing that was basically a war between all of them. Very quick, very bloody, very few casualties beyond people
Not a
who
lot
are
of innocent bystanders.
yeah,
shot.
that's why like a lot of people like are like most of you have never heard of the Gunslinger Schism because it was just what would have been perceived at the time as personal disputes between people, but it was effectively a war between these gunslingers as they kind of, for whatever reason, either disagreed with like how they were following the way of the gun or thought that some of them were corrupt. And basically the knowledge of exactly how it came to pass is a little fuzzy for you, Dex. Like that's not something that like is truly known, but you do know that like there's this organization called the Cut that or you've heard of the Cut being tied to that. Like they kind of had infiltrated the gunslinger guilds and kind of pulled strings and pushed biases to make this conflict occur. But they have been long since inactive. At least to your knowledge. And Vance says, I mean, they were known for organizing or orchestrating the schism, and Owen played a major part in that, to my understanding. The Legionnaire, what the records do show is that Quentin Lemarre and his apprentice Cordelia Gray were able to dismantle, neutralize, and defeat Owen and the most powerful members of the Cut. Though the final confrontation with Owen did cost Quentin Lemarre his life. From there, the last little bit that the records show is that, somewhat in line with what Mr. Riggs was talking about, the Cordelia Gray came into possession of a collection of weapons that were created by the Cut that were deemed too dangerous to dismantle, and instead the Legionnaires at the time chose to hide them away. And that is why the archives were scrubbed of that time, to prevent anyone from really being able to track these things down. At that point, Gray took a vow of silence. Legends say she mapped her way back to Quentin Lemarre's final resting place, the place where those weapons are stored. Etched it onto his guns, and that's what treasure hunters over the years and those who like to spin tall tales have been hunting for, searching for all this time. But the records of that time were destroyed. What exactly occurred during that time is lost to any living memory, except for, I suppose, perhaps the mind of Owen Lemarre, as he appears to still be active at this time. Legionnaires don't like to talk about it too much, but we have to from time to time. I mean, the legend about the Lemarres is passed around from occultists to treasure hunters and occasionally mystics and soothsayers and, you know, adventurers and drifters throughout the years will have even managed to seek out the Legionnaires Guild Hall in the hopes of finding more information, which ultimately all of those occasions were confirmed to be either deceptions led by greed in the hunt to treasure, or discounted as the ravens of occult conspiracy theorists and whatnot. As far as the Legionnaires are concerned, throughout the years, gunslingers and scribes and even stewards have been forbidden from really attempting to seek out the truth, even when the rumors would occasionally imply that Owen was active and everlasting and a ghost roaming the land searching for his father's lost treasure or weapons or whatever. Most of the treasure hunters who come through, they don't even know what they're expecting to find there. At this point, the legend has grown so big, it's, you know, most of them are thinking it's riches beyond imagine, those kinds of things. They don't even realize it's just a grave with some weapons stored with a body somewhere, hidden somewhere on Manifest.
And do you know why Cordelia Gray carved the map? I mean, why would she, if she takes a vow of silence, why would she have something to lead to these weapons?
The archives don't say. Maybe she wanted the opportunity to recover the weapons in a time of great need. If that was the intention, it was never passed down beyond her time. I don't even know, the records don't even show when she died or anything. She went into hiding afterwards, after it was all well and done. I mean, I don't even know 100% if the weapons are true. That's just what the legend says. That's not anywhere in the archives. The archives end there. I only know what I've heard from the people who came through in my time, who seemed to know a little bit more about what had actually happened, less than the ravens of lunatics or those who have bought in wholesale to the first time they heard the legend.
I met a man who said that he saw them, I mean, in a cloud in an alternate universe, but that's not important. I think they might exist, and if they exist, then the Legionnaires might be in a right bloody bit of danger.
Well, I've met plenty who would have claimed to have seen these weapons. Very few of them seem to know what they're talking about when put to the question.
Fair enough.
But I believe you lot. Besides you, there's only one other time I remember anyone seeming to actually have a notion of what was truly the lore behind Owen Lemarre.
What?
Who was that?
There's one man who took shelter in the hall a while back. When I was younger, I was still early in my training at that time. I was maybe couldn't have been older than 24. It's a man took shelter during a storm. Nothing as bad as what y'all went through, but I don't know, just something about him. It was he seemed to talk about it in a much more relaxed capacity, almost like it was casual conversation. And I don't know, he seemed like the way he smiled when he would talk about it, he never pushed. Oh, they always push in the end. They always betray their intentions in the end, but he just kind of talked about it. Seemed like he had stumbled on us by accident, and then he went on after the storm passed.
What was his name?
Hell. I think something along the lines of like McCharlotte? Charlotte? Something McCharlotte? He was an old fella. He rode on a jackalope. I thought he was with the Caledombro, but the breed of jackalope.
Yeah, jackalope named Umbro, right?
Perhaps I don't think. If I caught the name, I've long forgot it.
Dark brown, lighter spots.
Exactly. Yeah, not common around these parts.
That's who told us about the guns.
And what did you say? A storm dimension beyond.
Right. Yeah, it
Followed the
Travis
jackalope
Crafty.
into a storm.
Yeah.
We ended up somewhere else.
Well, I don't think that you lot are crazy. And based on what I saw down there by the archives, I'm inclined to think that you know what it is you're facing. You ain't tricked or nothing, or if you are, you have very good reason to believe it, but these legends have been... I've heard thousands of different versions of them. The fact that you met this man, I mean, he was in his 60s or 70s about 30 years ago.
He looked about 60 when we met him.
Well, that just don't make any sense.
That was just
Listen.
a few weeks ago as well.
An immortal ghost that is the greatest scourge of your guild is alive, presumably trying to do whatever it is he was trying to do when he first had a physical form. He empowered Leo Riggs with whatever he learned while inhabiting the body of Ulysses Pruitt at Brimstone. And right now, he's headed wherever he needs to go to finish his plan. The sooner you can start existing in the world where all of those things are true, the sooner we can start working on them.
This warrants recalling the cadre back to the hall and maybe even reaching out to the other guilds. I mean, it's not the next convocation of Iron. It's not supposed to happen for some time, but we may need to get the cadres together. If the cut is truly active and Owen Lemarre is not defeated, that means all the guilds are in danger.
I
can't speak for the cut. I can't speak for the cut, but Owen Lemarre is alive.
All right. I'll orchestrate to send. This is... You lot have been through too much. This is perhaps your fight, Mr. Bailey, still. But the forces you've been up against, Ms. Reynolds, Mr. Janus, Mr. Gurley, the Legionnaires would never ask for you to set yourself into that situation again. What you've told us, I need to know everything you know about Owen Lemarre. And I need to know everything you suspect about his intentions and what his connection to Leo Riggs is. If you tell me everything, the cadre can reach out to the other gunslingers, and we can begin working on this as much as we need. I mean, I can't speak for the cadre, but at this point, this has always been the Legionnaire's cross to bear. This is not your fight. I do welcome your assistance, Mr. Bailey, but it will take some time to get the wheels turning.
My guess is that's time we don't have.
Do you know where Owen Lemarre has gone? Do you know what his goals are? Tell me everything you know.
I forget. Did me and Porter get to see the part where Owen negotiated for? Yeah, we saw the part where Owen, like the entire negotiation with Leo Riggs. So we know Leo told him like where the next gun is.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you don't know, you don't have no direction.
Sure. But like that is an important
Yeah,
thing, right? Like the last we saw of him, Leo Riggs apparently gave him the location of the second of Quentin's guns. Owen had the first.
At that point, basically, Vance just asks you a series of questions to get a, oh no, we lost our Seth? Oh, he's back.
Hey.
I'm the porter now.
Click to a
Grave
porter.
misfire.
Do a porter thing.
No, hold on. No, I rolled it very well.
Hey, that's a low blow. Come on.
He basically, Vance asks you like for multiple play-by-plays and talks with you. Like, you realize now why food and drink was set out. Like, Vance had, for every question you have, he has like 10. He fully like gets a rundown from you about everything that you know about what Pruitt was up to, what Brimstone was up to. He even asked to see, like, you guys review the evidence of Brimstone's, like, basically the findings, the things that basically show what Brimstone was up to. And with that, I will say, it's a lot of stuff that you guys simply can't fully comprehend. There are parts of the notes, like, they are written for Owen to understand. But even with that, with Vance's knowledge of like the history and the legends surrounding Owen Lemarre, and with the knowledge of those who were there with Pruitt, and also just the like medical knowledge of Porter, anyone who wants can roll. We're gonna end up calling it lore more than anything else. It's not quite first aid is the thing. But we're gonna call it lore, and we'll pool it all in the one teamwork test. For which Vance will be the primary, unless one of you guys wants to be the primary.
I'm rolling 4 dice at an 11, so average.
I mean, if it's anybody, it's Eloise.
Makes sense.
I do get one automatic success. It's 5 dice at 10 with 1 automatic success.
Is that better than Vance? Probably.
I doubt it.
Really? No? I don't know.
After reviewing my options, I have decided to respectfully decline and forego this lore test.
Same. Me and Gus will be taking our talents to South
I actually
Beach.
think
That's
that
right.
I actually think I don't think Eloise is in the headspace.
Okay.
I don't think I think
So-
she's gonna help, but I don't think she's got
Cool.
the brain processing power. She's 3D printing a leg.
Yeah. Now that we know Vance is going to be the primary, this is going to be at a -10.
I can add a +2 to that.
Okay. +2
I
from
get
Porter.
1 automatic success.
That's a +1.
Okay, a -10.
-10.
I'm rolling for ones, I guess.
I'm rolling for ones as well. Sorry, I miscounted. That's a +2 from Porter. Or +1 from Porter. So
Can
take one of those figures down.
someone spend grit to go strong for him?
I can't.
Not for them. You can't spend grit to go it strong for someone else who's rolling. You can only spend grit for yourself.
I can spend grit to go strong for me.
Oh, well,
So I
Tom,
will.
he's an NPC. Can you spend grit to
Oh,
go
whoa,
strong
whoa, whoa,
for
whoa.
him?
You're talking about Vance.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Please? What if we said please?
With sugar on top?
No.
Me.
Okay. So interesting.
Are you spending grit to go it strong, Eloise?
I am.
Okay.
Okay. Well, this is an incredibly interesting role. Like I said, Eloise is not in the headspace exactly, but her mind doesn't stop working.
Nope.
Okay. That is 7 successes.
Is that including your automatic success?
No.
Okay.
8 successes plus a misfire.
Oh,
Come on.
I rolled 2 20s.
Not even I misfired.
That's
rolled.
excellent.
I rolled
2 19s and an
3
18, but I didn't
10s and 2 20s, and then I rolled another 10, and then the rest of them are successes.
That's wild.
Okay.
wow.
I think I like the narrative of this. I think I keep it.
Okay. So, you give a +8 to Vance. Porter, you give a +1. So that makes Vance only roll at a -1. And Vance did roll 5 successes on account of only being at a -1.
Nice.
So between all of you kind of like going through and walking through everything, these are the facts that you're able to lay out. You guys, there's no way for you guys to determine where Owen Lemarre is and where Quentin Lemarre's like has been buried. You just simply don't have that knowledge. And after basically like checking down like the list, you're like, until Owen Lemarre makes a move, or someone lucks into encountering him before he makes a move, there's going to be very little. But to which Vance is like, that's why we got to try to get the cadre here, and we got to try to get all the gunslingers on alert. That way people don't look away when maybe something smells just slightly off. So at this point, the 5 of you in this room are just, there's no way for you to determine where Owen is and where the guns are leading him, and if he has acquired the second gun already or is has not achieved that yet. There's no, you spend a lot of time. There's a little bit of a tangent that happens as you guys start to try and understand the like basically Eloise takes you guys on a really long tangent trying to figure out the intricacies and like functionality of Kinsey McCharlotte, the man that apparently lives inside a storm and has a jackalope, and met Vance Branya 30 years ago and was 70, and then met you and was like 50. And he met you like a week ago and was 50. So like you guys are basically like, okay, well obviously the only logical like Eloise is like, the only thing that makes sense is some kind of like temporal like manipulation of some kind. But like,
I think at the start of the tangent, Dex is like, he's, moves independent of time or something. Anyways, and then
And like
Dex is unconcerned. It doesn't seem important how this guy works, and then we go down this road anyway.
yeah.
Yeah, I think after Dex says that, Gus chimes in with, "Well, no, it's pretty simple. If y'all read the Verity of Righteousness, this sort of stuff happens all the time."
They're like, well, he's not a god. And you're like, I think he might be a god.
Travels
I didn't
around
say he's
in
a
a cloud
god.
with lightning and things like that. How is he not basically a god?
Lana would talk to like an ageless person in a storm like twice.
And so like you guys dive into the verities. They're like, wait, hold on, is that real? And like you're like, of course it's real. And we're like, yeah, but convince us it's real. And that goes on for a really long time too, where it's
Dex
like
makes 3 plates for himself while this conversation happens.
there's like a precedent like in like some religious text that you guys are able to remember and Gus is able to recite pretty thoroughly as far as triptycism goes. This idea of people like entities that don't exist, that don't follow like a linear time path, and like Gus like mentions that like there was like bad weather kind of in a story nearby that, so it could tie together, and like everything is just like it goes on this really, really deep thing that all amounts to like, there's no way to really know exactly how Kinsey McSharley works, but it does seem that he somehow exists outside of time. And you guys walked into walked through a storm, showed up somewhere that wasn't the Punch Peaks, then walked out of that somewhere 3 days later, and it was only 15 minutes for you, or like maybe a couple hours, I guess. You gave him the full story. And like that was weird. And then like you guys also find out that like when you realize like, okay, well, there's an age differential between when Vance met Kinsey and when you met Kinsey, as far as you guys know, 30 years later, but he was younger. But when you both are talking about it and like going through it, the jackalope was the same age both times. Like they're like, well, did the jackalope show signs of aging? And like Vance tries really hard to remember and like says like, I don't know, I would put the jackalope at like this age. And like you guys are like, I think that's right. And like so that's weird. Like it's like either a different jackalope or the jackalope is ageless in this equation. It gets really fucking weird and like completely unrelated to everything. Eventually you bring it back to like, okay, well, how do we deal with this? And ultimately Vance comes up with this. He's like, look, the only way we're going to find out what's going on with Owen Lemarre is it's going to take time. We don't have the time, but we don't have an option. We don't have anywhere we can go. We have nothing we can do except start getting the gunslingers to talk to each other. And Vance doesn't have neither you nor Vance have the authority to like get the cadres to agree to assemble a convocation of iron like 5 years early. So like that's just a wheel. Like he's got to recall the cadre of the Legionnaires, of which you understand there are a handful of people. Morgan Branya was one. Dex, you know that the wardens, they only have one cadre at any given time. They're a much smaller guild than the Legionnaires. But like he mentions that like the Calabor Gunslinger Guild also exists in the Heartwood, so they are in some ways like through the relationship they have with the various tribes that exist in here, like they can send word more quickly to them and get them on the same page. But like at all the many other gunslinger guilds that are scattered around, both big and small, it's going to take time to get in touch with all of them and get the cadres to agree. Because basically what happens is the Convocation of Iron happens every 16 years, and they agree when and where it's going to happen at the last one. And because all of the almost all the gunslingers are so
they don't really talk to each other very often.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like the Olympics.
Sort of. And so like in order to just get word out to all the gunslingers, like there's multiple ways in which that can happen, because the gunslingers all do exist in the same world, and like through personal relationships have a way to get the information passing through. But it's going to take a while to tap all the people and get that like kind of effectively LRC text chain started. A process that will just by Vance's account like take at least months, just to like get the word out planet wide. At the very minimum. And it all starts with him recalling the cadre of the Legionnaires to get that process started. To that end, assuming, I don't know if you guys are being like subtle about any of your other problems or anything, but Vance does basically say, like, if you want to fight this fight, you can fight this fight, but it's going to take months before this fight is even close to being ready to be started. And like, while your insights could be very useful at whether it's an early convocation of iron or just some kind of gathering of the cadre, he wants to be able to be in touch with you guys, but you have plenty of time to get your house in order. So I don't know if, like, Porter, you at all hint at your problems with the family, or anything like that, but basically Vance, regardless of if it comes up or not, you tell me whether or not it does, because that's useful to know whether or not Vance knows about any of that stuff. But no matter what, like, over the course of the conversation, Vance does make it pretty clear that it's like, you guys have effectively like, there's nothing you can do to interact with this situation, at least for a handful of months, and he'll reach out to you when that time comes.
I think Porter does mention it, maybe not getting it.
Did you just get super quiet? Did
You're
he just get super
very
quiet?
Seth.
How did that happen?
Did you hit your gain knob, maybe?
No, I didn't. But is that better?
No, you're just very
No.
quiet.
No? Oh, did it change?
There you go.
No? Yes?
Oh, was it noise suppression? Do you have noise suppression turned on in Discord all of a sudden?
I don't think so. I don't know.
You sound better now.
Yeah, it's picking you up now.
Well, that's what matters, is that I sound better now. I think Porter does mention it probably, and doesn't get into specifics, but like, he mentions he has a problem with his family and the family, that he does have to work out.
Okay.
And then if he pushes him on it, he might provide more information. I mean, especially knowing
No,
that there's a
you're-
bigger thing.
If it's unrelated to this, your problems are your own. You've proven to me that if you've fallen in with the family, it is an unjust situation to you. You fought bravely down there. I saw you. You know a man when you see him fight, man. And I wish you luck on that. I don't have the resources to assist you, but
I truly appreciate that, Vance. Thank you.
But I suggest, if you are going to try and do anything to have to do with any of what's going on with this, again, I don't think this is any of your fight, but if you feel the need, then I suggest you get your own situations in order first.
Right.
But you've already done more than enough just by opening my eyes, and by extension, the eyes of the Legionnaires as a whole. I mean, I know what I saw down there. That is legend come to life down there. And I wouldn't ask any of you to engage with that, and I don't think you should feel any shame in wanting to bow out. And if your help is needed, absolutely, I will reach out to you. But you've been through more than most people will have to go through in their whole lives, and taking a rest is earned. He then looks to Dax and goes, I know that don't mean much to you, but
I got miles left to go.
this is a path that you chose long ago. The rest of you, it sounds like you were just swept up in it. This ain't your fight anymore. You are effectively relieved of duty unless you wish to sign up again.
No, I think I'm actually good.
You fought well down there, Mr. Gurley.
Thank you.
All of you saved my life as far as I'm concerned. Lives of maybe everyone here in the guild hall. That thing had its way, word wouldn't be set out for a long time.
Has Ymaine come back from patrol yet?
Yeah, like there were multiple times during this very long discussion where Vance had to like step out and talk to like a steward or a scribe or one of the gunslingers to like discuss with him, and you saw Ymaine check in with him.
Cool.
Ken made it back, and during that long discussion, as far as like Ken did like a fucking like 4 to 5 hour like scour of the like area of the forest around here and saw no signs of an external camp.
Great.
And during that time, they've also been scouring every inch of the castle and lighting up everything as much as they can. And they're like, look, there's no guarantee that there's not someone hiding in the shadows anywhere, really. But
Terrifying.
but we're pretty sure that he was acting alone at this point. Or if his friends are here, they're long gone.
It would be impressive if any of them could have made it here with him.
From what I can tell from what you told me. Oh, wait, the last little bit of the lore dump. We talked a lot about Owen and everything and the history and what your next steps might be. But you also got a significant amount of understanding of what was going on, like what literally the tests he was doing were. And there's a couple parts of it. It seems through his tests, Owen was attempting to create this serum. And from all of his notes and what he did put down in his notes, it was a serum to help him recover his true potential. There's indications that perhaps Owen Lemarre had been weakened in some way when he was considered dead. And that since then, his Eloise, you kind of tapped on it a little bit when you were talking to him. Sometimes his abilities don't work in the way that he intends for them to. And this was to give him both control over himself and prove his theory of the ability for him to control the luminescence in others as well. You see through the varied failings, like you saw it a little bit when you fought Jack Taylor, in the way that when you touched Jack Taylor, your shine was actually siphoned from you. That is like one of a very small instance of the larger scope of what he was trying to achieve with the serum, was the ability to effectively both control luminescent energy in a way hitherto unknown. Theorizing so far as to the fact that if he was to succeed, he could manipulate the luminescence within living creatures, at will. And many parts of his notes indicate a significant amounts of pride and hubris, to the fact that, like, basically kind of indicating that his gamble to give Leo Riggs the thing kind of is explained within his notes, saying that, like, in order to actually, it would only raise you to your own personal full potential, right? And within his notes, he seems to believe his potential is insurmountably large. And Vance does say, like, as far as Vance knows, like, he was like, Owen Lemarre was one of the most dangerous luminescent like threats that the Legionnaires ever fought. Right. But like within the notes, you kind of are able, at least Dex is able to get a pretty good read on the fact that Owen Lemarre was like, yeah, I can give this to Leo Riggs. His potential is infinitesimal compared to mine. Like him at maximum capacity is someone I can kill now. Is kind of like what he like kind of classifies. He has like kind of like, he doesn't really go like through the full range, but he does seem to classify not the power of luminescent individuals that he interacts with, but what he perceives their potential to be. And his later notes in the last like bits before everything kind of came to fruition, he had identified Eloise and Gus as being some of the highest potential subjects he had had in his entire time like studying this.
Wow.
It does seem like potentially, like within the notes, it does seem like he was doing this to bait Leo Riggs. There's notes about how like he acknowledges within his notes that he is aware that some of his subjects are FPC members. And nowhere in his notes does it really like give him like a day by day or anything like that. But he's like, another FPC member came in and stuff like that. And like he uses that kind of, the language is in conjunction with his own kind of assumed timetable for how long he has until he needs to like kind of give up this position. And Dex,
he knew that Leo Riggs knew where the thing he wanted was, and so he made a thing that Leo Riggs would come after.
Exactly. And his gambit was both to serve himself and also to bait Leo Riggs. He never mentions Leo Riggs or anything like that, but given what you saw happen and the way that the notes kind of like seem to connect, another FPC member came in. I think I have this much time left before it's all done. Like, doesn't seem to be the same language as this is how long I have until I think I've completed what I'm trying to do. He has like his like adjusting deadline every time he fucking tortures and kidnaps an FPC member gets lower. Seeming to imply that his testing,
he planned to kill two birds with one stone.
Yeah,
and one of them was the raven.
Yes. So you guys are able to glean that as part of his intention as well, based on what you observed and what his notes seem to imply. Beyond that, the last little bit of knowledge you get is that in order to recreate this serum, there's a significant amount of this serum. A lot of his early work had to do with seemingly intentionally, he's not super specific on these parts, but in some way what he was doing to Eloise and Gus, he mentions people's essence a bunch, like he is like tapping into the essence of their luminescence, the core source within, he calls it, like the source of their luminescence. And his early notes indicate that he was figuring out how to tap into his own because he believed that to be a core necessary component of this serum. So basically what he did is this thing he kind of calls the essence and the source, and he uses various different language for it. The core potential of these people, he took his own, he took Eloise as a very powerful mentalist and Gus as a very powerful somatic. And those were the three components mixed with all of the things he learned from all the lesser potential people. Those were the three components he needed. He needed the potential, the like core raw potential of extremely powerful mentalist, the core raw potential of an extremely powerful somatic, and then his own core raw potential. And those three things made the kind of most of what was able to unlock the properties of the serum that he was trying to produce. And so effectively he superpowered Leo Riggs with his Eloise and Gus's own potential. And then went like, and then also, as far as you know, injected himself with that same thing to regain his full potential. A thing that he repeatedly refers to as his damaged self or his damaged soul.
It's very interesting for a number of reasons to Dan and not at all to Dex.
But in order to, if you were to try and recreate this thing, you would need to do what he did to Eloise and Gus. And then also, if you were trying to recreate it perfectly, do to someone who is like him, who apparently is someone who shows extreme potential within both mentalist and somatic ability. And you all like can tell, like he very thoroughly dictates that like the process by which he was collecting these samples is one that kills people or turns them into those monsters that you saw in those tubes. It completely deconstructs them and turns them kind of into what Leo Riggs ended up being when his like physical body was destroyed. Mm-hmm. It renders them unstable is what Lemarre's notes say. And I get one last thing. I'm going to give it to Eloise specifically. There's something strange about this, Eloise. In the sense of the way in which Lemarre sometimes writes to referring to himself. I think you specifically are able to tell that something is different about the way in which Owen Lemarre. Oh, I just saw we got choppy. The way in which Owen Lemarre interacts with people he possesses. You know very little about Everlights. You know a little bit about Everlights. You know about them in theory. And in theory, Everlights, they are themselves in someone else's body. But Owen seems to be, from what you can tell, as someone who comes from a long line of intellectuals and scientists and like professors and other like academics, like there's a break, like his language sometimes changes out of his own patter, his own tenor, as if it is Pruitt talking and not Lemarre talking. And unless Lemarre is also just an extremely accomplished scientist in the same way that the Ulysses Pruitt was, something about the way that he works with the host of the person he is possessing, he is able to draw on their skills in a way that, in theory, an Everlight is not supposed to be able to. That's something you specifically get, Eloise.
Yep. He's a James McAvoy in Split. That's rad.
Okay. So like a proto-dissociative identity disorder or something.
That's pretty much what you guys are able to get from the notes specifically.
Now, Seth doesn't remember this, but maybe Porter does. Did Owen Lemarre still have one more use of that serum?
No, he only made 2 doses. One he
two.
injected himself, and then one that he gave to Leo Riggs.
Sure. All right. I thought,
but if it worked, which you guys did hear him say, "How about that?" It worked.
Yeah.
If that is to mean that it worked in every way he thought it possibly could have worked, that would imply that Owen Lemarre has the ability to manipulate the luminescent energy within all living things.
Oof. That sounds bad. That doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
That's very worrisome.
Yeah, and it's made out of me.
You had something stolen from you to unlock something in a terrible person. That doesn't mean it came from you.
No, I mean, if something you had gets stolen, it still comes from you, right?
The crimes of others ain't your crime.
You can't take credit for this, Gus.
I mean, believe me, I'd like not to, but it's tough. It's tough to let slide off. I'm gonna meditate on that, I think.
All right. When you come back, we'll
as
talk about that conversation that Alana and the fish god had after the third scraping. All right.
Yeah, always happy to talk about. It's one of the really good ones. I mean, they're all really good. But, yeah.
Look, it is late. I don't know about the 4 of you, but I am exhausted. I can arrange for you to transport. It sounds like you need to get this evidence into the right hands to clear at least your own names. And if you're going, regardless of whether or not you're going to fight in this fight that may be coming down the line, that's the first thing I think you need to do. So I'll say, for now, we rest up. We see to ourselves, he says, like looking to Gus specifically. I can arrange for you to be brought to a nearby Calodombro village, where you can find safe and relatively easily transit out of the Heartwood, and you can find your way back. We'll be in touch regardless, but this is stuff we can discuss in the morning. I think rest up for now.
Thank you.
And I'll give you guys some time to talk amongst yourselves. And as he kind of steps out, it leaves you guys to your rooms, and like you guys are kind of able to, like, if you want to discuss things amongst the four of you, like what your plans are this evening, you definitely can. But Vance is going to leave you guys to kind of like decide your next moves. Since you guys did just spend like basically 6 hours like talking shop in theory with him. And this, at the moment before you guys kind of started this discussion or go to rest, this is where we're going to take our break for the evening. So we will be right back. I got 9:52 on the clock, so we're gonna do a 10-minute break here. We'll see you guys around 10:02 Central, and we'll be back with some more Manifest actual play. are back. Let's get back into it. For anyone who might just be joining us, our drifters spent some time with Vance Branya, the head scribe of the Legionnaires, conferring notes between what he knows about Owen Lemarre and what they know about Owen Lemarre, and about what they were able to discern from Owen Lemarre's research notes. And they have now been left alone in like their quarters to discuss their next steps, as it has become abundantly clear that if anything was going to be done to oppose Owen Lemarre, he has such a head start that building up even the infrastructure to begin to discern where he is and what he's up to will take, at a minimum, a handful of months, if not longer. So you have all been left by Vance Branya. He has said he can find transit for you out of the Heartwood so that you can begin the process of making your way back to effectively civilization, in order to clear your names and get the sizable bounties that are on your heads removed, and prove that Brimstone was up to no good. But before any of that can happen, it's up to you four to either rest up or spend some more time discussing what you want your next moves to be. You finally have a moment without an NPC in the room.
Yeah. I think it's at some point Gus goes up to Elle while she is presumably working on her prosthetic leg, I would bet. He just sort of saunters on over and says, "Hey Elle, I'm sorry. I feel like I was a little flippant earlier. How are you doing?"
Oh, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm all right. Porter got me patched up pretty good. Gotta be a little ginger with it, but there's something injured inside of me, and so I'm just trying to move light a little bit.
Mhm.
Because I don't really know how to stay off something inside of you. But I'm doing better. But what all your work are you working on down there? I
Oh.
guess I don't know. I assume as soon as like I saw you starting to work on it, I was just sort of like, oh dang, yeah, of course. Like Eloise makes all this cool stuff, and like she's gonna make a cool leg even better than her first leg. Cause like, I mean, Elle, can I be honest with you as friends?
Sure.
I didn't see the sort of cardio training and like or weight training or any like routine or regimen that indicated that you lacked spending a lot of time on the shape or the musculature or the function of your legs. But now with this, instead of like working out, it's like you go in your Omni tool and like crank a bunch of like cubes in there, and like you can work on your leg that way, and that seems like a way better thing for you.
Sure.
No, I'm sorry. That still seems like mean or something. I'm sorry. I hope you're all right. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna take a minute to get used to. I'm uh uh I'm 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 really just made like a basic one right now, because I don't really know what I want. And also, like, I mean, I was never real good at moving anyway, but this makes it feel like I should, I don't know. So I'm just, I'm trying to figure out a way to make it so I could have both of them at the same time. Like, so the basic one is sort of like the framework for the advanced one, so that if and when the advanced one needs a little bit of a tune-up, I don't have to like remake the other one, but I don't have to carry it around either.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I'm still working on the specs. I'm only kind of musing on it at the moment. I'm fine. The thing is that my leg wasn't the most important part of me.
Yeah. That's your brain.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think it's going to end up cool, and you're going to do something cool with it and interesting with it. And I'm going to be like, dang, that afterwards, I'm going to be like, dang, I got these two regular legs, and Elle's got a whole cool different leg over there. It's got all this stuff in it. And like if it's on fire, she can just like put some stuff in there real quick, and then it's can't be on fire anymore. What the heck was that? That was wild. You were on fire, and then you put a bunch of machine cubes on it, and it didn't put the fire out. It looked like the fire wanted to be there. That was nuts.
Oh, yeah. I just had some space left on. I wasn't thinking about it ahead of time, and so I just sort of. It's broken now. It doesn't do that anymore.
Yeah,
I'd have to redo it.
the fire resistant modification did break at the end
Yeah.
of combat.
I forgot I did that. Though I suppose that that's not unusual considering everything.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, I'm
Sure.
mm,
I guess I don't know. The other thing I want to talk to you about a little bit is I don't know. I know that you would like. I sort of want to talk to you about it because you talked a little bit before about how like the stuff they took from us got used to make the stuff that made Leo and Owen more powerful.
mhm.
And like I knew in my head that it did, but like I while I've been with you, I've gained such respect and like interest for like science. Like science feels like something that's like totally above me and cool and like true and right. And
Mm.
and when I heard all the science say that they'd taken the stuff from me to make those bad guys worse, it it felt pretty bad.
Oh, well, I can't really tell you how to feel about it, but like basically the way I look at it is that like there wasn't really a choice involved for
Yeah.
you, right? Like you fought to make it not happen and just couldn't convert on it, not because you weren't strong enough, but because there was, well, I mean, you saw where we were,
Yeah.
right? So I don't you like you shouldn't, I don't think that you should be like, if I were in your position, I wouldn't feel ashamed or like sad that I have an immense have an immense like talent that people wanted to use. That's a good thing that you
Sure.
have it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that makes sense.
And like it's been given to you, or you've grown it yourself, or whatever you believe. And it's created you as you are. And just because you have like a higher potential than others doesn't mean that it being your agency being stripped from you, and by proxy that being utilized for bad things as part not even of the whole, right? That's not in your control, and it's honestly there's nothing you could actually do about it now because you remain you and as powerful as you always have been.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I don't know. Makes
The
you feel like,
the crisis that I have is that I did make the choice to give it.
did you?
Yes. I
When?
traded it. I traded it. I traded I traded it for our passage out of the facility.
I mean,
He let us go because I allowed him to complete his experiment.
I mean, yeah, he tortured you and it worked. He got what he wanted.
No, I mean I gave it to him. I coerced still,
Yeah, I mean,
but not really. I had control in the situation, and there were many choices I could make, but I made that one, and that is logically the thing that makes the most sense to have done. But
hey,
it doesn't mean that the knock-on effects don't. Some of that responsibility doesn't fall upon me.
yeah,
Um,
I mean, I don't know. Like we were tortured and coerced and captured against our will. Like we tried to escape. I know things were bad for you in there. I just you made it. You made a choice. I don't know, something was taken from you as well, El. And I know you feel like you made a choice and everything, but like,
it wasn't taken. I still have it.
yeah, but like, I don't know. I just see that you're trying to make me feel better by making an exception for myself that's separate from you, but I don't need that, right? I want I want you to feel better too, or for both of us to feel the same, right? Like I this happened to us, and if it's okay, then it's okay. And I think that's all there is to it, right? If we're moving on, let's both move on.
Um, okay.
All right, Al.
Are you angry?
I don't know. I feel like sometimes you just tell me what you think I want to hear,
No.
or you think it's useless to argue against me.
Um, in this instance, I think maybe I think that you don't see the differentiation between the situations, and I think that that's fine. I think that the nuance is small, and I think that you're probably right. I don't have the same emotional matrix that you do, so I don't. I don't have a problem with what happened exactly. Like I don't have a problem with my role in it because there wasn't anything that I would have if I were to go back, I wouldn't have done anything different.
Okay. All right. Well then. Okay.
I
Well,
mean,
it
would you
seems.
have?
Uh, I don't know. No, I I guess not. I don't know. It seems like you're doing fine. I guess I'll take a step back. I don't know. I worry about shit sometimes, Al. I just want you to be all right.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's all anybody wants. It's just I have a little bit of a longer distance at the moment than
Right.
other people.
Well, yeah. I mean, you let me.
Metaphorically, there's no actual distance between okay and all right and bad and stuff like that. It's
Yeah,
like
I was going to say I can cover distance like nobody's business. I
no,
could take
that's
you
not.
with
I
me
mean, it is
easy.
a metaphor. It's a. I
I
have
know.
a.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm working. That's what I'm working on being able to cover metaphorical distance like there's nobody's business. That's sort of. I think that's sort of next steps for me.
Yeah. I mean, you are good at it, helping people.
That's. I think that's what I'd like to do. Yeah. Whatever it ends up being. I want to. I don't like the feeling that the world's worse because of something I did.
The world is not worse because of something you did.
Yeah, and I don't really think it is, but like, sometimes those thoughts get in there and the best way, I don't know, best way I know to go about it is to just go in there and make the world a better place.
I think that's a fruitful endeavor.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I like it too.
I think at this point Porter kind of comes in with a little tray with a couple of thermoses on it, and he says, "Oh, hi, good, Gus, I'm glad you're here. I have like it's a little, well, it's not like a tonic or anything, but it'll put you to sleep a little bit to help you sleep after we,
Yeah.
figure out what we're doing next. How are you feeling?"
Who, me?
Yes.
I'm fine. Hey, I'm ginger on it, but I'm doing better thanks to you.
Good.
And hey, look, you ain't got to put me to sleep if y'all want some alone time.
Yeah.
That's not what I meant.
I
meant
can
we've
read signs and signals.
no. Ironically, you're misreading this sign right now. This is just to help you heal while you sleep. It's purely medical.
Okay. Well, I can take my mug and go. I appreciate you, Porter.
Well,
But
do we want to figure out what next moves are? Do we want to do that in the morning?
that's a good question. Should we bring? I mean, three of us are here. Hey, Dex.
Yeah, the Dex comes over from his
Dex
room.
slides out
I
from
know you're
underneath
sort
the
of-
bed. I've been here the whole time.
Like 40 feet away from us, but like not quite in earshot. Come on over. Here.
Definitely out of your shot.
Yeah. Yeah. Y'all want to talk about what we're going to do next? How the heck do we get out of here? Out of the Heartwood?
Well, Van said that he'd lead us to the what was the name of the tribe? I'm sorry.
Caledombro.
Bro.
That the Caledombro. He'd guide us to the local Caledombro or the nearest settlement, and they'd be able to get us out of the Heartwood at the very least. Then from there, what is just a matter of getting back to Waypoint, and then we've got the rumbling retail. So
Alright.
I assume, Dex, you probably need to get back to your guild as the nearest point of contact about Owen Lemarre.
Yeah, I mean, Waypoint is first.
Right.
Like, this evidence clears our names, but more important than that, it exposes everything Brimstone did.
Absolutely.
Owen Lemarre is an enormous threat, but the work the Fort Dearborn militia is doing at Brimstone is, I am willing to believe that a single man and his group can do tremendous damage to the world, but that is an unknown. The Fort Dearborn militia, unchecked, can immediately do a tremendous amount of destruction.
Yeah, there's within the notes, I didn't go super into it, but within like the evidence that you have, I kind of focused in on like the intentions behind the experiments. But this evidence does both implicate the at the very least Brimstone Garrison and the command of Colonel McGarrett. but also Soma Pharmaceuticals. All three of which were working, or all, I guess both of which were working in tandem with Pruitt. And many of the notes reference both the demands and requests from various individuals, including Colonel McGarrett and the recently deceased Captain Schaefer, and members of
Presumably some of it is like direct reports, right?
yeah, exactly. And demands and requirements from Soma Pharmaceuticals. The Soma Pharmaceutical stuff, mostly it seems like they are trying to find like it seemed like Pruitt was Lemarre was feeding them like this will make like this is now an aspect of like the human function that I've learned to manipulate in this way. And like they were basically making like combat stims for the militia, and that's also what Brimstone's primary focus was, it seems. But the all of it very clearly shows that they were aware of what he was doing to his subjects, and also Brimstone specifically, like the movement brigade, which the number of which I always forget, the 108th movement brigade, they and Colonel McGarrett, they were like they specifically like there's notes from Colonel McGarrett like demand like notes to and from Colonel McGarrett that are archived in those records that show like that McGarrett was orchestrating the kidnapping of Fort Dearborn civilians to be brought here and experimented on.
I think Mayor Graves would probably want to know that, and if anybody knows what to do with it, it's definitely her.
And after that, the peak is probably my next destination, but first, it's this, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for me it's Waypoint, and then I've got to figure out my family in Markham's Landing, and then I think I have to find McGarrett.
You're gonna go after Fort Dearborn Colonel?
I had him in my sights once. Could have had him right there.
Seth, do you mean Henry Fawcett?
You mean Fawcett? Do you mean
I
Fawcett?
do mean Fawcett. That's exactly what I mean. Henry Fawcett, McGarrett Fawcett. That's two very similar names. I think I go after Fawcett.
Sorry, wait, hold on. Porter, I love you. You know I love you, right, bud?
I love you too.
You're going after Henry Fawcett by yourself to fight him?
Not necessarily by myself, but he's not a person that so in Ictitarianism there's this idea of the scales of the fish god are luminescence, right? And luminescence is the deepest expression of power that come from the fish god, but they can be corrupted by something called algae. The algae that the fish god has to jump against manifest to scrape off every, hundreds of years or something like that. It's been a while since I've read the text, but these agents of the algae, their goal is to spread evil, is to cover manifest and as much of it so that the fish god stops being able to scrape it off of themselves. And Facet is as clear an example of an agent of algae as I have ever seen in my life, and I've dealt with the family. I don't think he can be allowed to exist. I have spent a long time running from things and questioning my morality, and this has become something bigger than any of us, something bigger than myself. And I couldn't live with myself if I allowed evil into the world and I didn't do something to stop it. Doesn't mean I have to do it alone.
Yeah, huh. You make a lot of good points. Fawcett is sort of our big loose end here, right? Because he's not part of the whole Brimstone takedown. They're doing their own thing.
I mean, he's about to be a wanted man. He already is, but
He's a big fish. I
You know
think I can
something
catch
about
him.
big fishes. Well, dang it. Oh my goodness. I really don't want to beat up somebody and then have you pick them back up and give them back their gun. I would love to have that happen twice.
I think it's a one-time thing, Gus.
All right. Okay. Well, that's good to hear. He fights dirty too. Pulls out the knife.
Did you expect him to fight clean? Man like that.
I would like for someone to fight clean.
Wouldn't we have?
Nobody ever fights me clean. I guess it doesn't matter in the end, but it will be nice. I don't know. Dex, I mean, I know you got sort of a lot of stuff going on, and I would love to be doing something else than all this, but should we go after Henry Fawcett?
I think as soon as Porter said, like, I'm going to go after Henry Fawcett and then gave his impassioned speech about why he has to go after Henry Fawcett, Dex, like, immediately looked, like, not, like, staring at, but, like, his attention shifted to Eloise to see, like, her reaction to this.
Actually, Dex is a dang good read of people. So her face is relatively impassive, but there's a little bit of, I don't know. I don't know the word for it, but like maybe disappointment or like the, I don't know, like excitement that's like not as bad as disappointment, but like becoming like not being excited about a thing. Does that make sense?
Is it like oh, here we go again?
No, not that. It's like
Okay.
it's like
No, I think, because this is what I imagined, was that Porter has stated impassioned and, like, forceful, this is a thing that I'm going to do for the first time, and that thing is not like, I'm gonna figure this out with Eloise and we're gonna be together. And so Dex basically, like, just immediately looks to Eloise as a friend, is like, oh no.
yeah, her face is a little bit like, okay. All right. And then she's just 3D printing the leg that she's been working on.
Henry Fawcett is a man that, given the opportunity, I would challenge in the middle of the street without hesitation. But given everything that's going on, and the opportunity presented to all three of you to step off this path, I don't know that I feel the need to hunt him down. If that's the path you're set on, Porter, and I'm able to help you, I will. And I'm happy to see fire in your eyes and the passion in your heart to do good. But I don't think this has to be it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe for you, this has to be it.
I'll think on it. And I'll make a plan. And I'll stick to the plan.
I'll believe it when I see it.
I've got a family to save first. That's my well, the most immediate thing, I guess.
I can't thank the three of you enough for coming with me on this path up to here. I'd certainly be dead a half a dozen times over if not for the three of you. But Vance was right when he said that this isn't your fight. If you want it to be, it can be. But it doesn't have to be. And I certainly will not think less of you for deciding it's not. The three of you have seen more than most drifters see in a lifetime in a handful of months. I've been on the road with my master for years and seen less action than the four of us have seen in the last couple months. You can walk away from this without feeling like you've made the wrong decision. At least, it's not really mine to give, but I give you my permission to walk away from this without feeling like you've made the wrong decision. Live the lives that you're really supposed to, because I love the three of you. Out here on the road and fight after fight is not it.
You can see in Gus's eyes that like that does actually mean quite a bit to him. Like it really does hit him hard. When Dex is like, "Hey, look, get out of here." El, what it? I don't know. What do you think you want to be up to?
Well, none of this really matters if we can't become not wanted anymore. So, I think probably that.
Yeah, but then what after that is sort of really what we're all talking about.
Oh, I don't know. This all started because I was running out of money. Because I ran, over the past 5 years, ran through what I had. So, nothing's really changed. In fact, I'm poorer now.
Yeah, we didn't really get paid for like a ton of this.
Pretty much none of it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Dang. Aren't big adventures supposed to like you get treasure at the end or whatever? Rico gets like he doesn't take it obviously because like he's Rico, but he is around treasure a lot.
Mhm.
Yeah, you'd think there'd be more, bags, big bulky bags with a spur on the front of it,
Yeah,
I
right.
hardly
A
ever
nice
get
purse
past one of
bag.
those.
Dex like points over at our bag filled with a medium laser, a light laser, a heavy energy coil weapon, like 2 energy shields, a handful of grenades, like 15 bundles of ammo, a set of heavy power armor.
Oh, we're supposed to give all that stuff back.
Yeah,
Yeah, but you got to use it.
What?
it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
And you can't, you can't put it all in a bag and go clink, 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 in that satisfying way. That's what I'm looking for.
I would like to trade it for goods and services or like somewhere to live. I don't know. I don't know. I'll get a job. I'm gonna ask the people at the church in Waypoint if there's some go to Alanastead and go to a bunch of school jobs I could do, but then I'll probably go to Alanastead and do a bunch of school, I guess.
They'd be lucky to have you.
Heck yeah, they will. All right. Well, I guess first things first. L's right. We gotta get back.
Yep.
I'm gonna drink this sleeping juice and knock out, I guess.
Good old sleeping juice. All right. So you guys rest up for the evening. You've already fully regained all your hit points, but those of you who have shine, you're able to regain some shine during that time. And I think all the injuries were properly treated, so you are good on all those. The next day comes, and
Actually, I think Dex goes and talks to Porter after everyone.
Sure. Lights are not down, but they
No. Listen, I'm an extremely disciplined person. The lights are still on. I can sleep with the lights on.
all the lights in every part of the castle. There's like triple candles where there should be one candle. They are like, we're just gonna go ahead and try to light every inch of this castle as best we can, really quick, just to be sure. And so yeah, there's a moment where Dex is able to knock on Porter's door a little bit later into the night.
Come in, Dex.
I open the door and shut it behind me. And I sit down across from Porter. Porter, what do you want out of life here? Because I respect that you really believe in this. Henry Fawcett feels like your problem to solve, that you feel like you can't let that evil go unanswered. But I've seen you time and time again reach towards Eloise only to fuck it up right at the last second. And I gotta know, is that what you want? Is Eloise in your life something that you want, or are you a man with a gun on a path of righteousness? So I don't know if you can be both.
Why not?
I know you're a good read of people. But I don't know if you saw Eloise when you started talking about what you plan to do. Because I saw a person who was happy that her friend found something that he was happy about that she wasn't.
I mean, I've told her how I feel about that moment of looking in Henry Fawcett's eyes and letting him go and putting all of you in danger.
Porter, it's probably the worst tactical decision you've ever made. But that mistake doesn't have to define you. if you don't want it to. The person you want to be is out on the road, the gang of drifters, hunting down the evil man you let go. I think you can probably manage it. But I don't know if Eloise is going to be in that gang of drifters.
I mean, she's my priority. I told her I wasn't going to leave her. Are you saying I should go talk to... You're saying I should go talk to Eloise? I'm going to go talk to Eloise now.
And Porter, that's not what I'm saying.
It's... If you say I'm a good read of people, if you say you saw her face and you saw that she was disappointed and that you think that she won't come with me, then that's something that I need to address now.
Listen, what I came to say is you should decide whether it's more important to be with her and live that life, or more important to go after Henry Fawcett.
It's more important to be with her.
Okay. Because I don't know if you can do both. If you got to pick one, this might be the point where you have to pick. That's all. I think whatever you do, you're probably doing good. But now's the time to make the choice.
Come here. And Porter holds out his arms.
I give Porter a hug.
You are an annoying little shit. And I hate how wise you actually are. And I hate even more that you act like you're that wise. It's very annoying.
I don't have the personality to hide it.
I love you, Dex.
I love you too, Porter. Slap some more water. I slap him on the shoulder. You'll get there.
Thanks. Yeah, I'll figure it out.
And then Dex goes to bed.
Porter was definitely intending to stay with Elle. I think if he was in his room, it was just to, prepare. So he does go back to Elle's quarters and kind of knocks on her door.
Man,
Hey, I was gonna stay here tonight. That's all right.
sure.
Can I? Here, are you drinking your thing? I made that for you.
Oh, I wanted to finish the knee joint.
Oh, sure. Yeah, it's looking really good.
Thanks. I don't have a schematic. I'm just kind of making it. It's freaking me out.
This, I can only imagine that this is going to be your best work yet. Then.
No, I mean, probably the helicopter is the best thing I've ever made.
So far. Hey, I just can we talk for a second? You can keep working if you want to.
Okay. Yeah.
I know that I got really impassioned about Henry Fawcett and chasing him, but that doesn't change what I told you. Okay? I told you I wouldn't leave you. And I promised. And it's not the promise that's keeping me to that. It's me wanting to be with you. Does that make sense? I don't need to chase Henry Fawcett for some false sense of morality or security or whatever it is. I have become a better person because I'm with you. And I'd like to stay by your side. Now, if you want to come with me to go kill Henry Fawcett, that'd be fun. But if that's not your path, I'd rather be with you.
Um. Okay.
I understand this is probably a bigger conversation, and I know you've got everything with your family to work out. But I'm here with you to do that with you. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I love you, Al. Love you down the moons and back.
Huh. Um. Um. Yeah. Uh. Uh. I. I love you too.
it it's safe for you to love me, you know. I may not always be a safe place, but I promise I'll always try.
Okay. Uh, that's all anybody could ask.
Is there something else?
No. Mm-mm.
All right. You finish up that nose joint. I'll be right here.
Okay.
Got some reading to do anyway. I didn't finish up the last chapter of Rico Kazak, so.
Right. Yeah. No. It's This is tricky.
Do you want me to read it out loud?
No. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
All right. So, Eloise, you work on your leg. Porter, you catch up on Rico Kazik. And the night passes without any further incident, except I need everyone to rest and relax. And the morning comes. And you are met by Vance pretty early in the morning. You guys are waking up. He shows up instead of Hunter, basically. And says, we got some food set up in a room for you. I can lead you there. On the way, I was wondering if you were thinking about shoving off tonight or today, or if you were wanting some more time to recuperate. It'll be about a day's journey down to the Caledombro village, a little less than. It will take, basically, if we were to leave soon, you could get there before nightfall. And then from there, they can probably get you to the way station in about 3 or 4 days' time. And then the way station, whereabouts are you heading from there? Because the way station ain't got LRC or Nomad packs. It's just a little shop set up on the edge of the forest.
As long as they can get us on the path to Waypoint, that's what matters.
Mayaponto's where our helicopter's parked.
That's right. As long as they can get us to Mayapunto, that's all that matters.
All right. Well, From there, you're probably looking at about if you're traveling on horseback to Mayaponto, which you could be arranged. Chanda at the way station would be able to loan you some horses to leave at Mayaponto, and that would take about a week's travel on horseback from there to Mayaponto, and then I guess you got a helicopter from there, so you good to go. But if you need more time, you can have more time. I do want to send Ms. Bassinger that way soon. She's gonna split off at the village and go a different way in order to reach the cadre faster. But I figured y'all needed to get out of the Heartwood as fast as possible.
I think we can go with Miss Bassinger if y'all are feeling up to it.
I don't see any reason to wait.
Yep. We'll be ready to go. When's she leaving?
Well, eat up, collect your stuff, and get a move on. Your friend Yaz is going to be joining her. She already gave me her answer this morning.
I'm surprised she didn't sneak out of a window and jet back home.
I figured she'd be gone.
I think she's more scared of what might be outside the walls than what's inside at this point. I guess Ken was able to convince her that we weren't going to just be gunslingers about the whole thing. And yeah, you guys are able to eat a decent meal, collect your things, and you are led down the docks, actually, where a couple slightly more robust canoes have been put into the water. And you see Aaliyah Bassinger, a woman of about late 20s that you saw in the Great Hall. A gunslinger in her own right. She has the buckle and everything of the Legionnaires. Yaz is there, and that's it. That's the whole crew. And as you guys kind of get down there, Vance goes, should be a smoother ride than what you had coming in on the storm waters. And honestly, when it's rapids are rougher to the east than the west. So, you'll head down for a little bit, get down to the village of Mishnaki in the next right a little bit before sunfall, and from there, Ms. Bassinger, you can set them up with some jackalope guides, and she goes, sure. Y'all just gonna need something to trade. These are folks we keep a steady trade with, so their services aren't free, but they can get you north to Chanda's way station, and you should be good.
Oh, that shouldn't be a problem. I've got one or two things that I can swap them with.
No, then it shouldn't be a problem at all. Let's go ahead and set off here. Strongest rowers on each raft or on each canoe, and then just follow my lead. Vance again speaks up to say, and Mr. Bailey, I assume I can call on you when the time comes.
Of course.
The rest of you, this is the LRC that you can best reach me at. And he pulls out his LRC to tap with the rest of you to transfer his information and receive yours. And he goes, you'll hear from me if you're needed. But if I don't hear from you, I wish you well.
Same for you.
Yeah.
And he gives you guys like a little nod and steps back. And Aaliyah steps on one of the canoes. The rest of you filter out into the other canoes, and you start heading sort of westward. It's like southwestward, along the stream, through the forest, to your next destination.
Next adventure.
And as you kind of move down the canyon, you're all able to take one look back at the truly remarkable site of the Guild Hall of the Legionnaires of Astoria, a site that most even on Manifest will never see. This castle, hundreds of years old, hidden within the Heartwood Forest, the bastion of righteous justice and vengeance throughout Manifest, the true birthplace of the Legionnaires of Astoria, bends around out of sight, potentially for the last time, as you all head downstream towards the village of Mishnaki. That's where we're going to end tonight's session.
Amazing. I can't believe there's a castle in the Heartwood Forest. I still think that's so cool.
I was really glad we didn't have to roll sail again to leave.
Well,
Also,
that's next session. No.
Shut up, Tommy. You said we got out of here already.
Man. Also, that I may have said it previously, but it bears repeating again. And this is to either Tommy or Addie, but the Convocation of Iron is such a cool name.
It's so metal.
It's so sick.
Hell yeah. There were a lot of names bandied about for what the gunslingers would call their basically their convention.
And it's so GunCon.
GunCon.
And it's so gunslinger. It's just like very like self-serious and like epic.
Mm-hmm.
It's good.
All right. So I'm just double checking. All right, we're moving on to the Q&A section of this stream. So we're gonna jump into that. We have some questions in the Discord specifically, but also if you have any questions about the campaign, the players, the characters, the system, the session, whatever you want, drop it in the stream chat. We will answer it. We are fully in Q&A mode, but we've gone a couple weeks without a Q&A, and we have some questions that have built up in the Discord that we're going to answer here. So Argitlam asks, are there any active volcanoes on Manifest? Yes.
Ooh.
Yep.
Oh
Yep.
yeah, we've yeah.
There's enough lava that there are, I believe, 2 lava monsters in the core book.
The second one isn't in the core book, but yes.
Okay. There is one very big lava monster in the core book, which does require lava.
It does. Yeah, if you go to the I think maybe the easiest way for people to find it is to go to the Kickstarter and then go to the update that shared it. But we did share the map of Manifest on our Kickstarter. And in the Southern Badlands, specifically the like southeastern part of the Badlands to the west of San Cordero, there is an area known as the Sulphur Dunes. And that is because a lot of the mountains around there are in fact dormant and active volcanoes. And Addie, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Is Mount Vitriol active, or is it just is it dormant right now? I know it's one of the biggest volcanoes on Manifest, if not the biggest.
Oh, it has been continuously erupting for the past like 100 years.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Yeah. So that's why it's called Mount Vitriol, because it's just constantly just fucking shoving shit into the atmosphere. It's rough there in around Mount Vitriol. And those are in the mountains on the southeastern Badlands, or southwestern if you want to take a garden point of view, which is what the map is built for. But yeah, to the west of San Cordero, Sulfur Dunes, plenty of volcanoes. And yeah, those of you who played in at Gen Con, some of you got to encounter one of those lava monsters in the Sulfur Dunes even. Oh, I see Seth said that's where Owen Lemaire has his evil lair.
God, if Owen Lemaire's secret lair is not in Mount Vitriol,
You
The Owen Lelaire.
Oh no. Next up we have from Arget Lom. It's some characters to build in Manifest. It's Sylvando and Eric from Dragon Quest 11. I'm not familiar, but Sylvando is apparently a consummate showman, capable of using his showman skills to help allies and hinder enemies. But he's also has considerable hand-to-hand combat skills with various weapons.
this is a brawler.
Yeah, this
100%.
It sounds like a Moxie, a brawler who has both Brawn and Moxie.
Mhm.
I don't know what his third.
I've played this character, I think.
Yeah. I don't know what his third is, but what's interesting is, so the showmanship stuff comes from the Moxie because there's stuff in the Moxie tree that lets you use basically your personality to like bolster your allies, either with teamwork tests or by giving them your turn. And then the Brawn tree lets you beat the crap out of people with your fists.
The showman aspect is built into the brawler path as well.
Yep. Yeah. There's like many of the triggers for the brawler has to do with you putting on a show for the people around you.
I think like fully half of them are things. It's like I think it's one Gus had early. You choose not to fight someone you think you could beat, or like there's ones you let somebody have the first hit.
Yeah.
Like you show off during a fight.
Mm-hmm.
Also, my immediate reaction was, this guy is that whip guy from TikTok. Y'all know what I'm
Yes! What is it? Javert or Jacques or Jacques the Whipper?
Yeah. Yes.
That's wild. Yes.
That's that guy.
Oh, I love it. One of his abilities is literally called Ladies First, where he lets a party member go first. Yeah, okay, then that's straight up talent in the Moxie tree, where he's like, "Hey, you take this turn."
You got a turn.
We saw Roland use that to great effect in season 1.
Yeah, because Roland was not great at fighting.
But Pax was built to fight an army by herself.
So good at fighting. And the thing was, my turn could just be a second Pax turn.
Which is just a great net return on those turns.
The thing is, I'm so good at initiative. Pax could actually go first.
So good. Next up is Eric from Dragon Quest 11, which is your standard RPG thief. Down to being able to steal from enemies, sneak attack, and inflict status effects with his knife attacks. One particular ability where he generates 2 more of himself so he can hit someone 3 times.
Okay, that's cheap shot. That's 100% a roll at a -8 to hit someone without them getting to dodge.
Yeah.
If he took that one guy from FPC and gave him a bunch of murder and a knife that has an element on it, that's this person. You remember the FPC Sneak Boy?
Yeah.
Made friends with?
Kit.
Yeah.
Good old Kit. He was a nice boy.
Yeah, I mean, you could do like Outlaw would get you some of the trees you want. Scavenger would do it. Honestly, Brawler would do it.
Yeah. The fact that he has multiple attacks makes me think maybe Brawler, just because of you get that 3rd attack out of there.
Sure. I mean, he just wants the Brawn tree, really.
Yeah.
Basically, depending on what path you pick, you're probably taking either subtlety or brawn as your like aptitude, like your 3rd pick, right?
Yeah. Because you want both of those, because then you can be like, those are the 2 you need to be a quintessential rogue. That's why Pax was very close to like a classic RPG rogue, because she did have subtlety and brawn. She just also had sure hands, so she could shoot guns real good too. She was designed for murder. But
hated to kill.
It's true. Yeah, but there's straight up a line starting at tier 2 to tier 3 to tier 4 in the subtlety tree that is effectively a sneak attack. We saw it, I think the Raven used it. Yeah.
The Raven uses it on me.
Yeah. The you get to have once per combat, you get to have basically a free attack.
Rest, I believe.
Might be once per rest, but yeah, you get to make an attack. You get to bushwhack somebody when they are fully aware that you're there because you're right there in front of them fighting them in combat. You can be like, yeah, but let me go ahead and take a negative so that I can fucking fuck this guy up real quick.
I think actually the only reason I really survived that is because of the tier 3 talent literally right across from it, which is Devil's Own Luck, which meant that despite not getting to dodge, I had cover.
Yeah.
The minus represents it's mostly a no look attack. You're like convincingly looking somewhere else, and it's just
Yeah. It's there's a lot that goes into the feint before you fucking stab them in the rib cage, but they don't get a defense test against it, and that's huge.
You sure can go it strong to negate that -8.
Yep. It's a talent that you can use alongside 3 grit to basically just really fuck someone up in combat with 1 attack.
The real thing is the talent right after it, which is when you bushwhack someone. Oh no, they're in a quick draw they didn't know about and didn't get to dodge.
Yeah, so the damage is, remember how before I told you all the damage in quick draw is calculated differently? You get to do that with your bushwhack attacks. It's fucking brutal. It makes you truly an assassin in Manifest. Argalam has another one in the Discord, which is, I know we've talked about what our favorite illegal weapon mods would be, like against the rules. To which he references the hard caliber brick.
I love that brick.
But what's the actual most powerful within the rules? Wait, no, it's not within the rules. He wants more illegal. It's not about favorite. He wants power.
Yeah, it's remaining within the mod point limits. So like you can't slap more mods than the weapon can take, but
you can take more of the same kind.
No. Like, what are the best mods that you otherwise aren't allowed to take, right? So one that is actually really cool, that is not necessarily the most powerful, but is, I still think, really fun, is there's a projectile mod called Sight Window, which reduces the penalty for called shots. And one of the first weapons I made when I was running Manifest early to give somebody like a special gun was a rifle that had Sight Window. And then comboed with Trick Shot, this dude just made called shots at no penalty.
Yeah. It is strong.
The one that I thought of that is actually maybe the most powerful one, it's not the one I told you, Addy, because that one's dumb. The one that I told Addy was an energy coil heavy laser, which is, I figured out the math. It's a 10 power, 13 piercing, 3 accuracy weapon.
It's just double laser is what
it's double laser. But no, the real most powerful one is you can exactly fit laser and a projectile mod called High Power on a heavy firearm. And what High Power lets you do on a projectile is it lets you use your muscle attribute for your dice pool. So you don't actually have to be good at finesse, you just have to have good ranged. And you get to just be a big, strong boy with a gun you shoot with your muscles.
Oh, I love it. It's a Gus laser.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I've found one. Ooh, I found a couple of nasty boys. And when I say I found a couple of nasty boys, I mean, obviously I'm looking at the melee mods chart.
Of course.
You look at the chain-powered fist weapons?
Chain-powered fist weapons would be incredible. Do not get me wrong. I am looking at, so there's two-sided, which allows you to attack twice with the same weapon as a quick action, but only, this is...
It lets you attack with the weapon as a quick action.
With the weapon as a quick action. Now I'm realizing that what I'm about to describe is what Gus literally has. Because I was like, two-sided pinpoint. And I'm like, nope, that's just Gus's fist weapons. But I do like I do like the idea of balanced and internal gun, which I don't think
You throw a knife that shoots a gun.
Yeah, you throw a knife that lands in them and then fires.
Brilliant.
I love that. That's it's like
That's
a
very
throwable gun blade. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant.
Honestly, the illegal combination that Henry Fawcett's laser has, which is it's a laser, which is a firing mod with double barrel, which is also a firing mod, which it should only be allowed to have one of. Any laser you can fire more than once is extremely good.
Yep. That's a good old Proto Martyr classic.
Well, it's not a Proto Martyr classic. It's the titular Proto Martyr classic.
Yes. It is Elijah Singer's weapon.
God, I worked so fucking hard to get that shithead caught in a way that didn't blow him up, and then you gave this other shithead his gun off screen, Tommy.
All right, Matt. It was that gun was stolen long ago from Waypoint.
And then I think I gave it to somebody in Rico too. I was just like, that was a cool gun. Somebody want it?
Double barrel laser is one of the easiest things you can do as a GM to be like, this gun is a threat. It's a big threat, and you got to deal with it.
Yeah.
All right. That's all I got in the Discord. I don't see. I'm gonna double check. I don't see any in the stream chat. So I think with that, we are gonna call tonight's. Yes, you can go it strong to negate the -8 from the cheap shot attack.
He just once per rest delete someone.
Yeah. And that is going to, I think, be the end of the stream. So we are back on track to be here March 8th with the next episode of Manifest Actual Play as our drifters make their way out of the Heartwood Forest towards Waypoint via multiple stops to finally clear their name. And be able to choose their lives as they see fit instead of live their lives on the run from Brimstone. We'll see you guys next week on the 8th, 8 p.m. We love you guys. Thank you all for being here. We're so glad to be back in the mix. It's been really, really fun. I've been going through RPG withdrawal for the past couple weeks. Addy can attest. I made 9 D&D characters between last time we went live and now.
How many did you build in Hero Forge?
We don't need to talk about that. The answer isn't 0. So we are gonna be done for tonight. We'll see you guys next week. I'm really excited to be back. We love you all so much. Thank you. Goodbye. Bye. Bye.